Hello, everyone. This is Backyard Musings, broadcasting live from Apple Valley. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
Our last segment, we think it's the
FCC cracking
FCC.
down on
Yeah,
us.
cracked
Yeah,
us.
they shut us off. But
I think it was probably a technical thing of my phone trying to read. Anyway, subscribe if you like E. You must subscribe E.
please,
All right. So today we're continuing our segment on Signs of the Times, and it was Matthew 26. Verse 8, I think it was, pestilence and famines, or was it verse 7?
maybe 7.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about pestilence today, and I totally didn't know this. I thought pestilence, I thought it was like
bugs,
bugs devouring the trees and locusts devouring the corn
wiping
and
out
stuff.
crops.
No, not at all. What is a pestilence? It's a fatal epidemic disease, for example, bubonic plague. So we're going to go in reverse chronological order with the most deadliest plagues in the last 2 centuries. So, COVID-19.
That's the one we're all familiar with, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody, unless
Yeah.
you're just born yesterday or within the last year or so.
That killed between 7 and 35 million people as of today. I think we all know about COVID-19, its variants, and its start, right? So no need to rehash this since it's so very recent. Okay, I don't think we need to go into it.
And I mean, we could probably talk a whole segment on about
Lockdowns and
how
stuff.
many people died by something and they had COVID, so they just put that COVID
yeah.
was the cause. Because I believe there was a financial gain for pharmacies, pharmaceutical companies, hospitals. Yeah, I do, because I think the government was paying them. But anyway, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
This might go down in history with an asterisk, like
Yeah.
Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
Okay. The next plague is HIV/AIDS, which started in 1981 and is still ongoing.
Familiar with that one as well, yeah.
The death toll is 45 million people worldwide. AIDS is caused by a human immunodeficiency virus, HIV,
Right.
which originated in non-human primates in Central and West Africa, separate from human primates. And I don't know why they put non-human. That's what the note said. While various subgroups of the virus acquired human infectivity at different times, the present pandemic has its origins in the emergence of one specific strain, the HIV-1 subgroup M, in Leopoldville in the Belgian Congo. Now it's called the Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo in the 20s. Approximately 1 century ago in southeastern Cameroon, cross-species transmission of SIV-CPZ from chimpanzees gave rise to the HIV-1 group M, the principal cause of the AIDS pandemic in humans. Right? So that's the story of HIV/AIDS. I remember that too because I was an enlisted soldier in 1985, 86, and I used to moonlight as a security guard. And one night I was providing security, and it was this federal inmate that was at the Army hospital, and he was dying of AIDS, and I had to help him up, and I was really scared to touch him, but I reached out my hand and I pulled him up, and showed a little bit of compassion.
It was kind of the same thing with
Scary.
COVID, right? People didn't know. There was a lot of false information out there and stuff. I remember, because I was a huge Los Angeles Laker fan back then. I remember when Magic Johnson came out and said he was going to have to retire because he'd contracted the HIV virus. And that was devastating. But that was an eye-opener. And, of course, today, I mean, look at him. He's a vibrant man. I mean, he's healthy, and I think he probably still has to do things to stay that way. But I mean, he showed that you were able to fight that off. So, good for him.
Yeah, back then I was a Pistons fan. Pistons used to play the Lakers a lot.
They did, yeah, they did.
Yeah, okay.
They lost a lot too.
No, they won.
Well, they won, but they didn't. We can talk about championships, but the Lakers won more championships than the Pistons did.
Okay.
Anyway, back to
that's
reality.
the NSA. That's the NSA.
Yeah, FCC's here.
Okay.
NSA.
There were at least 4 flu viruses in the 20th century that had major, implications. But the Spanish flu was an exceptionally deadly global influenza pandemic caused by the H1N1 influenza A virus. The earliest documented case was in March 1918 in the state of Kansas, in the United States, with further cases recorded in France, Germany, and the United Kingdom in April. 2 years later, nearly a third of the global population, or an estimated 500 million people, have been infected in 4 successive waves. Estimated deaths range from 17 million to 50 million. And we talked about this in the World War I, the wars, and how soldiers brought it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are huge numbers. Could you
It
imagine?
made it one of the deadliest pandemics in history. The pandemic broke out near the end of World War I, when wartime censors in the belligerent countries suppressed bad news to maintain morale. But newspapers freely reported the outbreak in neutral Spain, creating a false impression of Spain as the epicenter and leading to the Spanish flu misnomer. The third plague pandemic was a major bubonic plague pandemic that began in Yunnan, China in 1855. Didn't know this. This episode of bubonic plague spread to all inhabited continents and ultimately led to more than 12 million deaths in India and China, and perhaps over 15 million worldwide. Again, a Dinovirus. Okay? And at least 10 million Indians were killed in British Raj, India alone, making it one of the deadliest pandemics in history. According to the World Health Organization, the pandemic was considered active until 1960, when worldwide casualties dropped to 200 per year. 1855 to 1960. 105-year plague.
Over 100 years. Yeah, that's crazy.
Plague deaths have continued at lower levels for every year since. Crazy. Okay, so next is the third plague pandemic. The first two were back in the ages. The third plague pandemic name refers to the third of at least 3 known major plague pandemics. The first began with the plague of Justinian. That was 15 to 100 million deaths way back in the day, which ravaged the Byzantine Empire and surrounding areas in 541 and 542.
Just huge numbers. What did they do with all these bodies?
Bring out your dead, and they put them in a cart.
guess.
Bring out your dead.
Yeah, that just...
It is staggering.
It is. It's staggering.
The pandemic persisted in successive waves until the middle of the 8th century. Golly. 300 years? 400 years. Well, 300. The second began with the Black Death, which killed at least 1/3 of Europe's population. We know about that, 25 to 50 million dead, in a series of expanding waves of infection from 1346 to 1353. This pandemic recurred largely until the 19th century. So, we've had pandemics going back early, but focusing on what's happening now, I don't think we've seen the end of pandemics.
No way.
I'm not talking about disease X that the WHO is talking about. I'm talking about killing pandemics that are going to come out.
Yeah, I don't think they ever going to get rid of it, right? It's like the flu. It's like any influenza issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away. They just find ways to fight it and to combat it. But
Yeah, but now you're getting testing in labs to come up with a biological weapon and to find and then somebody gets bit in the lab and then it gets out, you know?
right, or however it's being transferred. I
Yeah,
mean,
so pestilence is famine. Sorry, pestilence is plagues,
disease. Yeah.
disease, and that is upon us. And it's still upon us. And we're going to see more. Well, thanks for joining. We appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.
Take care. Have a good day.